Hey everyone, Tony D with another webcomic controversy, I guess you could say. The latest subreddit I've been temporarily banned from is political cartoons. And I was banned for this cartoon, which I will read to you now. It's about the Minneapolis Freedom Fund, and I did a video on this. This is the fund in Minneapolis that's bailing out. Initially it was set up allegedly to help protesters who really became rioters. But the fund is pretty much freeing everybody in Minneapolis. And you can go back and check out my Hollywoke take on that, because a lot of celebrities backed this fund. And Kamala Harris, too. They all raised money for it. And they went from having a $100,000 budget to $35 million, which means they're just freeing every criminal. Well, suspected criminal, I should say. So they've cut loose guys, and the guy who ran it said he doesn't even check the charges. He just bails them out. And the whole point of bail is to keep the prisoners invested in coming back to court. So if somebody pays your bail, that kind of defeats the purpose. You have no reason to come back. You don't care if you lose that money. You're not getting that money. It's not yours. It belongs to the fund. So if you skip town, the fund has to eat it. Anyhow, the first panel has the Minneapolis Freedom Fund, and since these guys are all Marxists, the guy, the imaginary spokesman, has a hammer and sickle on his T-shirt there. And it says, he's saying, "Hi, I'm Aubrey for the Minneapolis Freedom Fund. At the fund, we seek to pay criminal bail and immigration bonds to end discriminatory and oppressive bail system. Power to the people." And then the editor's note says, "Real organization, not a real spokesman." But that's, what he said is what I believe it's on their website. Second panel, he comes across a woman being mugged. "See this crime? Most people will think the right thing to do is to call the cops or even stop it." And the woman says, "Help me, for the love of God." And then Aubrey says, "Time for the fund to help. Excuse me, sir, or ma'am, or however you identified. Do you have a safe place to sleep tonight?" The mugger says, "What?" "The Freedom Fund offers help to everyone, like when we bailed out the man who was charged with felony assault. He ended up doing it again, allegedly. But at least he's no longer oppressed." And I made an editor's note, "It's true." And then the mugger shoots him. "Ow." The woman says, "I can't believe this organization is supported by Seth Rogen, Steve Carell, Cynthia Nixon, and Kamala Harris." And as he's bleeding on the ground, Aubrey says, "It's okay. You take it. You take my wallet. You've been more oppressed." "Got it. Got anything else?" says the mugger. "Call our office so we can bail you out for this shooting too." And then he says, "Are you people mentally challenged or what?" Because it's kind of stupid, right? I mean, the Minneapolis Freedom Fund shouldn't just free everyone. But they do want to tear down the system because they're very, very left. And so, why do you think this was temporarily banned, or I was temporarily banned from political cartoons? That's right, because they consider this a transphobic cartoon. Yes, they consider it transphobic. For the line, "Excuse me, sir, or ma'am, or however you identify." That line got me temporarily banned from the subreddit, political cartoons. And that's what the moderator told me. I assume they took down the post. And I tried to discuss it with them, but I just got frustrated. They sought to prove that I was a bad person, I guess, and transphobic, rather than saying, just coming out and saying, "We found this transphobic." They said, they seem to impugn my comedy, which I will not stand for. So listen, this has been happening for years now. Anyone who even remotely, indirectly expresses any kind of view that isn't down with the left is immediately expunged. There's no tolerance whatsoever. There's no discussion. You're wrong. And the only thing you can do is keep apologizing as they keep telling you you're wrong. But I'm not going to apologize. This cartoon's fine. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing transphobic about this at all. And of course, if they knew anything about me, the co-founder of the Webcomic Factory is Christian Baranek, who's trans. And she doesn't think I'm transphobic. So or that this person suddenly thinks, oh, that's a transphobic comment. You know, these snowflakes on the left, these woke tards, they're all this sensitive. You know, the ones who have really gone down the woke rabbit hole, they're this sensitive. You know, this is why things in media are so awful now, because they're pruning it from the inside. These people hold the levers. They're the editors. They're the publishers and the people who make these decisions. A lot of them are. Not all of them, not yet, but they're trying. They're trying to get up there. And the sick thing is, a lot of them will succeed because nobody wants to do, you know, there are very few people who actually want to be editor and publisher and do all the boring stuff. You know, the talent needs room to grow. You can't be under an oppressive, you know, ideologue and be able to do stuff. If they're standing at the top telling you what your ideas should be, you can't create. That's exactly what the Oscars are doing now, and that's exactly what these people do. And they're slowly gaining more prominence. They're slowly giving themselves more permission to do this. All under the guise, well, that's transphobic, that's racist, that's this, that's that. Therefore, you can't do it. This is, and I said to the moderator of the subreddit, this is exactly what we used to get in the 80s, except it was religious right-wing nutbags who would say, oh, that's blasphemous, that's ungodly, you're unpatriotic, you know, all those things they'd say about you if you did anything too controversial for them. And we laughed at them. We laughed them, and we laughed them right out of power. Now, it's the other side of the equation that's doing this. So, if you want to read, until I get banned, my books, if you want to read the comic, of course, go to the webcomicfactory.com, and you can see everything. Today's comic is Pandemonium, fantasy adventure. But you can click on the Antiwar Comic. It's one of the blue ones, one of the current ones running. And you can see other politically incorrect comics like TNA, which gets blasted all the time. I can't even put it on Imgur anymore. I just can't. I got blasted. So I got banned off of Imgur for it. I had to make a new account. So come to the Webcomic Factory. And, of course, my books, The Pineys, books 1, 2, 3, and 4, available now at Amazon.com. And for the political stuff, Wokistan, a novel. The sequel, Hollywoke, is coming out soon. And so definitely check that out. You can click on the links in the description of this video or on the site here. So thanks. And I'll continue to chronicle my adventures in the woke on Reddit and social media.